My mother kept one bedroom locked. For 25 years, the truth was waiting behind the door. For 25 years, one bedroom in our house stayed locked. No birthdays, no Christmas mornings, no family gatherings ever happened near that door. Whenever I asked my mother what was inside, she'd go pale. She'd only say one thing. Some doors stay locked because love demands it. When she died, I inherited the old house. The lawyer handed me a tiny brass key. There was one final instruction, he said. Open the room only when you're ready to know the truth. I thought I was ready. I wasn't. The room looked untouched. The bed was perfectly made. A layer of dust covered everything. On the nightstand sat a birthday cake made of plastic, with 8 candles. The calendar on the wall was frozen on July 17th, 2001. Then I noticed the family photo. It showed my mother, my father, me, and a little girl standing beside us. A little girl I had never seen before. Someone had scratched her face out of every picture. My hand started shaking. I turned the photograph over. On the back, in my mother's handwriting, were 8 words that changed everything. Forgive me for choosing only one child. I suddenly realized I didn't have a sister. Or, at least, that's what I'd believed for the last 25 years. My stomach turned. I searched every shelf, every drawer, desperate to find another explanation. Instead, I found a small wooden music box. The moment I opened it, a soft lullaby echoed through the room. Hidden beneath the music box was a bundle of letters tied with a faded blue ribbon. Every envelope was addressed to someone named Emily. The first letter was dated 25 years earlier. Happy 9th birthday, sweetheart. I wish I could hold you today. Your brother asks about you every year, but I still can't tell him the truth. One day he'll understand why I had to let you go. My heart pounded. Brother. That meant Emily wasn't imaginary. She was real. And she was my sister. I ran downstairs and confronted my aunt, the only close family member still alive. The color drained from her face the moment she saw the letters. You opened the room, she whispered. I nodded. Who is Emily? Tears filled her eyes. There was a fire, she said quietly. Your father rushed inside to save both of you. He could only reach one child before the roof collapsed. You. I couldn't breathe. What happened to Emily? We searched for days, my aunt replied. Everyone believed she had died. She paused. But no body was ever found. I stared at her. Then why did Mom keep writing letters? My aunt reached into her purse and placed a newspaper clipping on the table. The headline read, Local couple arrested for kidnapping missing child after 25 years. Below the headline was a recent photograph. A woman in her 30s looked straight into the camera. She had my eyes, my smile, my face. At the bottom of the article was one sentence that made my hand shake. Emily Carter has been located alive and is asking to meet the brother who never knew she existed. The locked door. For as long as I could remember, there was one rule in our house. Never go near the bedroom at the end of the hallway. The door was always locked, not once. Not on birthdays, Christmas, or even when relatives visited, did my mother ever open it. Whenever I asked why, she'd force a smile and say, some memories are too painful to disturb. As a child, I imagined monsters lived inside. As a teenager, I assumed it was filled with my late father's belongings. As an adult, I stopped asking. But every night, I caught my mother standing outside that door. Sometimes she whispered. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she simply rested her hand on the doorknob as though someone on the other side might answer. I never understood. Until she died. The final key. After the funeral, the lawyer handed me a small brass key. There was one final instruction from your mother, he said. Give my son this key, but only after I'm gone. My heart raced. The key fit only one lock. The bedroom. For nearly 25 years, it had remained untouched. My hands trembled as I turned the key. The lock clicked. The door slowly creaked open. Dust floated through the sunlight. Everything inside looked frozen in time. A perfectly made bed. Children's books neatly stacked on a shelf. A stuffed rabbit sitting on a pillow. The calendar still showed July 17th, 2001. It looked as if someone had simply walked out and never returned. The girl in every picture. My eyes landed on dozens of family photographs. At first they looked normal. My parents, me, family vacations, birthday parties. Then I noticed something strange. Every single photograph had deep scratch marks. Only over one person. A little girl. Someone had deliberately erased her face. Confused, I picked up the oldest picture. I turned it over. Written on the back in my mother's handwriting were the words, "Forgive me for choosing only one child." I froze. Only one child? I was an only child, wasn't I? The letters. Inside the closet sat an old wooden box. It contained more than 50 letters. Everyone began the same way. "Dear Emily." The first letter read, "Happy 9th birthday. Your brother still asks about you. One day he'll know why I couldn't tell him the truth." Brother. My chest tightened. Emily was my sister, yet I had never heard her name. I spent hours reading every letter. Each one ended with the same sentence. "I hope you forgive me someday." The next morning, I drove straight to my Aunt Helen's house. The moment she saw the letters, tears filled her eyes. "I wondered how long it would take," she whispered. "Who is Emily?" I demanded. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she finally spoke. "When you were 8 years old, there was a fire." I remembered almost nothing. Only smoke. Sirens. My father's voice. "You and Emily were trapped upstairs." My father ran inside. The ceiling collapsed. He could only reach one child. He carried you outside, then rushed back for Emily. The roof collapsed before he reached her. Everyone believed she had died. Even my father. He never came back out. A terrible discovery. "But that's impossible," I whispered. "There was no funeral." "There wasn't," Aunt Helen replied, "because Emily's body was never found." I stared at her. "What?" She nodded. "Police searched for weeks. Nothing. Everyone assumed the fire destroyed all evidence." Then she handed me a yellow newspaper clipping. The headline read, "Local girl believed dead after house fire." One sentence had been circled. "Authorities cannot explain the disappearance of the child's body." A cold chill spread through me. Emily hadn't died. Someone had taken her. Part 7. The truth behind the door. Back in the locked bedroom, I searched again. This time I found a hidden compartment beneath the floorboards. Inside was another envelope, marked, "For my son." My mother's handwriting shook across the page. "If you're reading this, then I finally found the courage to tell you everything." She explained that months after the fire, she received a phone call. A stranger claimed Emily was alive. The caller demanded money. If the police were involved, Emily would disappear forever. For years, my mother secretly paid thousands of dollars. Every birthday, every Christmas, she wrote Emily letters she could never send. Eventually, the calls stopped. She never knew if Emily was alive or dead. 25 years later, 3 weeks after my mother's funeral, my phone rang. An unknown number. I almost ignored it. Instead, I answered. A woman's voice whispered, "Is this Daniel?" Yes. There was silence. Then she asked one question. "Did Mom really keep my room exactly the way I left it?" Every hair on my body stood up. "Emily," she began crying. I've spent 25 years wondering if anyone remembered me. I couldn't speak. Neither could she. For almost a minute, we simply cried together. The reunion. She had my mother's green eyes, my father's smile. She looked at me and smiled through tears. "I always hoped you'd find me." We embraced like strangers, yet somehow like family. She told me everything. A couple had kidnapped her from the burning house, pretending to rescue her. They raised her under a different name, convincing her that her real family had abandoned her. As an adult, she uncovered forged documents, discovered the truth, and spent years searching for her birth family. She arrived too late to meet our mother, but not too late to meet me. Months later, we stood together in front of the old house. Emily unlocked the bedroom one last time. She placed our mother's letters on the bed. "I forgive her," she whispered. We closed the door gently, not to hide the truth, but because the room had finally fulfilled its purpose. Some doors protect painful memories. Others protect hope. For 25 years, that locked bedroom held both. The end.